RE2, we're back, of course, talking about some, well, it is FF7 to a certain degree. We're talking about some Square Enix. This is some really good and interesting and weird news. Square Enix put out this new, like, anti-harassment policy for their employees. I mean, weird in, like, a bad way necessarily. Like, it's just kind of, like, surprising that we got to talk about this and the fact that they have to do this, that the devs are being harassed that much, that they have to put out some sort of official policy for it. I don't really live outside the FF7 bubble too much. I obviously dabble in other Final Fantasy games and a little bit of other Square Enix games. But when it comes to like social media and other shit, it's really just FF7 for me. So I don't know outside of like the hardcore FF7 shippers, like what else happens to the Square Enix employees from people, I guess. I mean, I did read a GamerRant article that was covering this policy and they gave a few examples of, you know, people being like, I guess really weird with like the Dawn Trail update and like the gender of one of the voice actors or something like that. I don't know. And then they had to like cancel tournaments in the past, like I think 2019 for like death threats or something. Like, I don't know. I guess I didn't really see this stuff when it was happening. But I will say in terms of the FF7 community, I have seen some of the hardcore shippers kind of on all sides in some ways, harassing the devs at times, whether it's, you know, Hamaguchi or Nojima. I won't name anybody specifically, won't give them the time of day, but there was a hardcore Cloud Jesse shipper at one point that was like harassing Nojima all the time, every time he'd tweet, essentially. Maybe they still do, I don't know. I don't fucking even think about that person. But I did like cover that at one time. I did a video on the channel. I believe there was some like pretty shady tweets at times of like, you know, kind of alluding to threats. Like, if this doesn't happen, if Jesse's not in Rebirth, if Jesse's not alive, this is going to happen. I'm going to have to do this type shit, which under this new policy, I think would kind of fall under, you know, Square Enix taking legal action if that were to happen again. So we're going to hop into this and read it directly from the Square Enix website. Square Enix believes that the feedback, comments, and requests received from our customers are essential to the advancement of our group's products and services. Therefore, we are committed to strive to apply your voice in improving our products and services. At the same time, there are instances where certain customers take action directly or through our support centers or towards our group executives, employees, partners who are involved in the creation and distribution of our group products and services that constitute customer harassment, such as denial of personality, violence, defamation, intimidation, advance notice of wrongdoing, advance notice of obstruction of business, harassment. Such actions do not only prevent our employees and partners from engaging in their work with a sense of security, but also causes disruptions to other customers. Square Enix will not tolerate harassment and will take action as necessary. Should Square Enix determine that an individual has engaged in an action against one of our employees or partners that exceeds socially acceptable behavior or is harmful, we reserve our right to cease providing support services or to refrain from providing our group's products and services. Where such action is egregious or with malicious intent, Square Enix reserves its right to protect its employees and partners and to take legal action or criminal proceedings upon consulting the police and or lawyers. Actions which Square Enix considers customer harassment or to exceed socially acceptable behavior or is harmful include, but are not limited to, the following examples. Harassment, act of violence, violent behavior, abusive language, intimidation, coercion, duress, excessive pursuit or reprimand, defamation, slander, denial of personality, personal attack, including email, contact and contact form. What the hell does that even mean? Comments or posts on the internet, advance notice of wrongdoing, advance notice of obstruction of business, persistent inquiries, repeated visits, trespassing by visiting or staying in an office or related facility without permission, unlawful restraint including via telephone calls and online inquiries, discriminatory speech and conduct regarding race, ethnicity, religion, family origin, occupation, etc., infringement of privacy by taking pictures or making video recordings without consent, sexual harassment, stalking, repeated stalking behavior, undue demand, unreasonable changes or exchange of product or request for monetary compensation, unreasonable response or request for an apology, including face-to-face response, request for an apology specifying the position of our employee or partners, excessive requests for the provision of products and services exceeding socially acceptable norms or accepted norms, unreasonable and excessive demands for punishment of our employees. Damn, that's kind of a lot to read. So I don't know the list that they gave there, like what all has actually happened to them other than I've seen, you know, obviously harassment online. And I guess, you know, apparently death threats or whatever the shit was that canceled the tournament in 2019. They got like death threats over like microtransactions in the past as well. Apparently their gotcha system or whatever. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? The Gamer article I mentioned earlier gave an example of like The Last of Us Part 2. Not going to spoil it. Don't worry. Especially because Season 2 is coming out pretty soon. But a particular voice actor did get death threats over something that happened in that game. And it's like, what the fuck are people doing? What is going on? Like, where are you? Like, I love video games. Dude, I've been playing video games most of my life. But I'm not so invested that if a particular thing happens in a game, I'm going to threaten somebody's life over it. Same thing with like, you know, TV shows and movies, right? Love TV shows, love movies. But also, it's not real. In case you didn't know that, like if something happens in the story that you don't like in a game, and it just really angers you to the point that you want to threaten somebody that made that product or whatever, it's like, it's not real. That thing that you don't like did not actually happen. So what the hell are you doing? You're talking about ones and zeros in a computer, you fucking idiot. It's just one of those things that's like so absurd to me. I can't put myself in their shoes. I just can't picture doing that ever. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. I just can't believe that there are people like that exist. Like, I don't like what happened in this video game. So this person right here, I want you to not be alive anymore. Like, what the fuck? This is kind of ridiculous too, that I guess it's to the point now that Square Enix has to put out this policy here. To a certain degree, I feel like this policy should already exist. I don't know why it doesn't. If they're using, like The Last of Us Part 2 is like an example of stuff like that. That was years ago at this point, 4 or 5 years ago. You think there'd already be like a lot of studios having this kind of policy in place already just to protect their studio, their devs, and whatever, their employees. But it's here now, at least. It's there. So I guess like those kinds of people, if they want to do those kinds of threats in the future, they could face some kind of actions. There's already some sort of like harassment policy in place, of course, but we're talking about it, today, of course, because they, I guess, updated it potentially. Maybe this is just them adding new stuff to whatever the harassment policy was before. You do mention in the policy that like if you do some of this shit, like they could prevent you from buying their products. Essentially, I don't know how you enforce that exactly. Like say like I got in trouble doing this shit somehow, and they're like, you know what? You can no longer buy the Final Fantasy games or Square Enix games, David. Like, too bad. It's like, what's going to stop me from driving down the road to fucking Walmart and just picking up the next Final Fantasy game? Like, how do you even possibly enforce that at all? The legal action stuff is different. Obviously, getting the police involved if you're threatening people online, that's a pretty obvious one. But, like, to prevent me from buying your products and stuff, like, I don't think you can really do that. Unless I'm, like, stupid or something. Like, maybe you guys can tell me if there's a way to do that. We had a problem, of course, with people harassing the devs when it comes to the Remake project, or just kind of in general. Obviously, anybody harassing anybody involved in a video game when they're upset over something that happens with that game. But with this new policy in place, I'm gonna start snitching. If I see somebody harassing a dev online, a Reddit post, whatever, I'm screenshotting it. I'm fucking tagging Square Enix, dude. I'm snitching on everybody. I'm gonna be like Randall Weems off of Recess, bro. That's pretty much the video, man. I just wanted to kind of talk about this. Like, if you're somebody that gets angered, I guess, by something that happens with or in video games, to the point that you feel the need to like harass somebody, just step away from the computer, dude. Just turn the computer off. Put your phone down. Go outside. Get some fresh air. I know it's kind of cold outside right now, depending on where you live at, but maybe some cold, fresh air will do you good. Of course, best luck to you guys. What are your thoughts on the new harassment policy from Square Enix? And are there any other examples you guys can give me that I'm not aware of in terms of people harassing Square Enix devs, employees, things like that, outside of the FF7 psycho shippers? Because I literally have no idea. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Search works in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @DavidYT, where I don't harass Square Enix employees. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Rogaine, or leave it like Cobain.